We'll call the meeting to order. Thanks everyone for being here. I know it's rush time for everyone, vacation time, but thank you for being here. We have the minutes for the last 2 months for June and May. We get a look over. And we need a motion to approve minutes.
We need like one motion. We can do one motion to approve all of them if you guys want to do that.
Okay, all three.
Second.
Have a motion? I'm sorry.
There's a motion and then I have a second. Oh, is there a motion? I have a second. You know,
So,
we need to,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Anybody else to?
Yeah, someone else.
Motion.
No,
Okay, I have motion.
you motion, okay? We need a second,
I'll second.
okay? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Approved.
Happened?
So like whenever we're approving our minutes,
No, I know.
I'll need to motion. So somebody else beside Mr. Lebo needs to motion. And then someone else needs a second. And then you can think about.
Do you have any public comment? Not at this time? Okay. We'll go into committee reports. Adult services.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Berta Gomez, and I'll be showing to you guys what we've had for the month of June. We started it off by having the craft afternoon. We made a mummy doll. And before they got started, I showed them a video found in one of our databases called Canopy, where they can see movies, listen to books, and yes, those are two things that it offers. I showed them a documentary from an episode of the ancient pyramids and how they do mummification. So they saw that first, and then they got started using that. We were using a garden wire and then different types of cloths. And as you can see at Southmost, they added pipe cleaners. So there you have the kind of pictures of who was involved and
You had adult participation, huh? A lot of adults participate.
okay. Then we celebrated the dads again. This time we added the Mummy movie and we offered chamo mango and rainbow ice cream. Oh, sherbet ice cream. And for the dads, a haircut. You can see them right there at Maine getting their haircut. Then the last activity for June, we had a for Jurassic Park movies. At the first, second, and third place winners, they enjoyed it. There were easy questions too. 50 of them. It wasn't multiple choice. They had to answer them because out of their own. I don't know if they let them use their phone or get help, but I said no. And so the third place winner, they got a little tumbler that says Jurassic Park. The second place winner, they got movies, and I think something else too, but I forgot. And the first place winner was a lantern that had dinosaur designs. So it was a solar lantern that they can use for dancing. And for this month of June, I will be discussing next month, if it's going to be here at Maine. And there you'll see what we did for the Let's Get Cooking. It was Mesopotamian dates. We did an activity for the hair threading, and rock painting. So, but using not the usual paints, not the usual paints. It was other. Talk about it. Is there any other questions?
So all these are in theme with like the summer reading series, right? Like Uncovered.
Yes. So that's why we try to do things related to that, to unearth the story.
That's the
Yeah. And so we were trying to think of things that were made back then, or things that would happen before, like, well, for the threading part, that one, I guess you guys already saw the flyers about the hair and stuff. That thing has always been going on. Sometimes the youth would use it. Sometimes it was another country that they would do it, or it was a European thing or a seasonal thing. But so it's always been going on. The people were really happy at the end, and I'll talk about it next. But I'll see. That's it for the adult services right now. Well, I mean, I didn't include it in the presentation, but our plant exchange program is doing amazing. We always have close to 100 people, if not 100 and more. Sign up, take a plant, leave a plant, and also for the seeds. They're always taking seeds. And we're restocking them. And people are also donating them. They're not just exchanging, but they're donating from their own homes. So.
I'm going to be presenting in the Children's Library here at Maine, and this is my July presentation. So first off, summer reading program registrations, we beat last year's number. Last year we had 1,195 registrations. This year we had 1,299 registrations. This is the people that registered to be able to participate in the competition. Coming Wednesday is going to be the actual award ceremony, so we'll see how many people show up to our sophomore branch for that. And so the way that we broke this down is kind of the way that we report it. So for June, the amount of people that we had was 585 people total. This is for our events that are for birth through 5 years old. And these events include our stories and snacks, stories y cuentos, and bouncing babies. So 585 is the total amount of all of those programs together. There, we also had our events that were aimed at ages 6 through 12, and these events included the prehistoric necklaces and the pasta fossils. We had 310 participants for those two events. And then for general interest, this includes Dinosaurs Rock, kickoff, the SRP kickoff, bookmark contest, Dinosaur George at our Southmost branch, and the Summer Bash also at our Southmost branch. And with all of these events together, we had a total of 7,032 people that visited our libraries at one point.
Thank you.
Crazy number. For July, a lot of our events have already passed, but you'll on the right side, you'll see the different days that each of these events were taking place. For our story times, those are further divided into sections, which are bouncing babies that happen on the 1st and the 8th. Stories and snacks happen on the 1st and the 15th, and then stories and cuentos on the 8th. I'll be presenting the numbers for that in the next meeting. Presenters that we had during this month. On the 10th, we had Sea Turtle Inc. come to both of our branches to do a brief presentation on the life cycle for turtles. And then on the 24th, we had Gladys Porter Zoo do a presentation at each of our branches with different animals that came to visit us. We also had different types of crafts going on throughout this month. So we had the fossil portraits on the 14th. Ancient pots, so they got to decorate their pots and smash them to make them look like they were found in archaeology. That was on the 21st, and then the dance party was on the 22nd. And then, as previously mentioned, in 2 days we'll be having our award ceremony where we will be announcing the winners for the different categories for summer. During August, we're already getting ready for August as well. We're going to be having story time. Again, that's divided into bouncing babies on the 12th, stories y cuentos on the 12th, and then stories and snacks on the 19th and the 26th. We're going to be having Cocina Alegre helping us out with a cooking class aimed at children. That's going to happen on the 11th here at Maine and the 18th at Southmost. And then on the other branch, we'll be having family game night. So just a small get together so that families could play board games and stuff. So Southmost on the 11th, Main on the 18th. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you.
Good job.
Team services.
That's me. I am Sarah Weisinger. I'm the teen services librarian at the main branch.
I can't tab it because on my screen it's. There it is. That's because I have the teams. As well.
So you can just move to the next one. So I'll be covering June, July, and a preview of August. So on June 2nd, which is kind of the kickoff of summer reading program, we do a lot of sign up and then we have the first event. And this year we had dinosaur jewelry. It was a big event for both Main and Southmost. We kind of hit the same kind of numbers we did last year, which just kind of shows how big the event is. It's everybody wants to celebrate summer reading program. We had little dinosaurs that we created in Makerspace with 3D printing. It was like an all in-house kind of a job. And then they stuck little hanging things in it and the kids made necklaces, bracelets, earrings, parrots too. It was a great family affair. We had an extra bead table to the side, which stopped traffic quite a bit. So we moved it over, but it was lots of fun. You can see some of the kids there. You're welcome to move forward. The second one was a little bit different this year. We had a sensory experience that we kind of targeted it to kids and teens. We just had a few teens, but we had probably more at Main than we did at Southmost, but we did it all in one day. We did Southmost first in the early afternoon, and then we came to Main, and we had 7 different stations. The first the first station was kind of all different layers of soil so that kids could understand what goes into soil and where it sits. And we had some charts and information. And then we had bugs in soil where kids could dig into dirt, and we had plastic bugs and worms, and it was a hit, I have to say. And the worms really felt real inside the dirt. And so it's hard to get them out of that. We had a couple of video stations which didn't do so well, but the thought behind it was, I didn't know this before we put it together, but there's actually a lot of sound in soil. Some of it is bugs, some of it is ripening, some of it is actually plants and roots creaking. And so we kind of had some giveaways and they could listen and see what it was all about. And then we focused on the worm after that in terms of what worms do for soil. We had some worm anatomy. And then we also had some plants, plant roots, so the kids could feel it, and they love the water, of course. So what really touched me was the little girl who came here and didn't want to miss it before she went to her birthday party on the right. And I was like, that just shows how loved the library is. And she was in her princess stuff. So you're welcome to move to the next one. So this one was also a bit of a big production. We created all of our dinosaur kits and bug kits through our own laser cutter. So we created over 200 kits. And then we also had some simpler versions, which kids could cut out. The little boy in the Santa costume had a simpler version. And the bugs were moths, ladybugs, beetles, and I can't remember else. And then we had a couple of dinosaurs. And so we basically gave each kid the little kits that they wanted. And then they put it together. Some of them got a little crazy. Some of them kept it pretty simple. And there were a lot of parts here. So it was interesting to see what they wanted to do. We kind of tried to set it so that the older kids would get the more complicated kits. So there was something for everybody, but even some of the younger kids really wanted it. And so we just kind of handed it out and they all did really well with it. One of the things that made me happy about this event was I had an old teen come back because she thought she would hang out with all of her old friends. And it was very sweet to see her. And she came to say hi. Unfortunately, her friends didn't show up, but she told me she had moved to Seattle and she really missed our library quite a lot. because we have that all ages approach in all of our events. And that is a unique thing out in the library world outside of Texas and around, and where she was, she could only sign up for age specific events. And the interesting thing about it is she's a special needs adult, right? And so, you know, in some ways she's part teen, in some ways she's part adult, in some ways she's, you know, a really energetic 12-year-old. And our all ages really does serve a pretty big need as well as a family need. It's always great to see families come in and spend time with their kids. And it even happens at the teen level, which is something that's really sweet. So you're welcome to move forward. So I've done something simple because we have a lot more traffic in the teen zone now. And I wanted to have some passive stuff that kids, if they just dropped in, could do. So we had, we call it quickie crafts. We had 120 quickie crafts taken and done. And what I also like about it is sometimes they leave me notes and pictures and all kinds of stuff. So this was lo-fi coloring. It kind of is a way of helping them relax with just a couple simple colors, but it also helps to stretch their mind in terms of how they apply color and how much color they apply. So it's a little bit of a growth opportunity at the same time. So the next slide, I believe, is, okay, July. So I've got July previewed here up to the last event, which is tomorrow. So we did dot mugs. Everybody showed up, a lot of families, a lot of teams at both branches. And it's basically like all those mugs, makerspace mugs. Sublimation mugs. I always forget that name. And then you dot on it with markers, like paint markers, and then you can bake it in the oven. And so everybody had a really great time doing it at both branches. And then we did a junk journal event at both. It wasn't as big of an event, but the people that were here were very passionate. The table to the left shows all of the stickers and the papers. And so just digging through all the stuff that you wanted to personalize your junk journal with was also part of the fun of the event. And then the next event is going to be the last event of the month. Tomorrow, Digital Experience Day with a dinosaur focus. All our console games can play some digital games. I love this because kids will literally be the dinosaur in the world running around, so they get to kind of feel it out. Or they will be riding a dinosaur like in Ark, and they can choose their dinosaur and it will have different powers, and it'll be fun because there's always going to be waiting with console games. I created some dinosaur checkers, and we just bought some plastic dinosaurs and we painted them, and like it really looks fun. I know it sounds a little crazy, but they can kind of like take their imaginations to the table and play in a whole fun way. And that just shows you some of them. And then we'll have gummy treats, dinosaur gummy treats, which is always fun too. And that's June and July. And then the next slide should be cookie crafts maybe. Oh, okay, great. So we had a big tour a couple weeks ago. The Good Samaritan Community Services Group, they have kind of a pretty dedicated team group. And the kids all came one day. These are kids that show up to Good Samaritan on a daily basis, and then they help to take care of the younger kids who are there for like day camp. And so they brought them all here for a bit as their treat day, which I thought was great. So we did a tour of the library. We talked about how to do research at the library. We talked through Dewey Decimal categories a little bit, not to like overwhelm them, but just to help them start understanding how it works. And the big idea was, right, the numbers are the same at any library you go to for the particular topic area. And I gave them a handout for it. And then they did a lot of leftover crafts and gamed and hung out and had pizza. It was kind of like a 10 to 1 kind of a thing. And then they all left. So it was lots of fun. I saw a lot of kids we see at regular events, which was also kind of cool. They're out there on their summer, like helping the city in different ways. And you're welcome. Okay, and so this was Quickie Crafts for July. I said, name a rock and give it a face or name. And so they left me a bunch. we didn't quite have as many, but we still got a couple days left. We'll see what comes in. And the next one is just a preview for. Okay, so in August, oops, sorry. I'll go fast.
Wait.
We're gonna make like a 3D mobile with clouds. We will see the girl who leapt through time for teen anime. And then coming up in September, we have scheduled our teen lock-in at Southmost, 7th September 4. Put it on your schedules, tell your friends. The registration has started. A lot of kids at that tour that we gave started wanting to sign up at that point in time, so we're excited about it. We think there's going to be 20 to 30 kids. There will be lots of great crafts, including sewing crafts and papel, all kinds of stuff with lots of choices. We'll have lots of games, movies. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Katia Rodriguez, Kat for short. I'm the new Makerspace advisor here at Maine, and I'll be giving my first board meeting presentation. So for our June events, we had archaeology zines. For those of you who don't know what a zine is, it's basically a mini magazine that people can make their own. And so we did it archaeology themed. So we printed out a bunch of printouts of like famous archaeological sites, artifacts, including archaeology underwater. And then we did have a few National Geographic donated by our wonderful tech services. And then we had a wonderful patron that donated a whole bag full of National Geographic magazines at like literally the day before. And we're like, okay, yippee. So they were able to cut out of magazines, the printouts. We had markers for them to use and basically just be inspired by archaeology. And so on the June 8th was at Southmost, we had 40 people. And then June 29th, we had 39 here at Maine. And then on the same days, we had reading buddies at the opposite branch. So in June 8th, we had it at Maine with 40 people, and then June 29th at Southmost with 45 people. And then for July, we had dino teeth. So they were able to create their own models of dinosaur teeth using air clay. On July 6th, as at Southmost, we had 36 people. And Maine, it's actually today, it's happening right now in our main meeting room. We had a lot of kids, we had teens and some adults. Some of the parents didn't want to do it. I'm like, no, come on, it's fun. It's like for everybody. And so we had some printouts of some famous dinosaurs that they could do the teeth out of, and some a little weird ones like the one in the middle that still counts as teeth. And then we also had, of course, our usual reading buddies, and we had it at Maine at 37 people, and Southmost it is also today. And then these are the upcoming August events. So for August 10th at Southmost, we are going to do our Coptic book binding. So Coptic book binding is a type of book binding that's actually been used for thousands of years. So even though our summer reading program is over and Unearth the Story is gone, we are still using techniques that have been used throughout history. So it'll be at August 10th at Southmost and Maine on the 24th. And then in the same day on the opposite branch, of course, will be our usual reading buddies. And in August, we're now starting again the classes that we used to do before summer reading. So on the 21st, we'll be doing the Intro to Inkscape, the sequel. We had a lot of people that really liked our first Inkscape class. This is especially since it's like a free software, like compared to like Adobe Illustrator. You don't need a subscription for Inkscape. And people did want to learn more, especially since we're getting more people for poster printing. And for direct-to-film printing, people want to make their own designs. So this is a free alternative that they can use instead of Adobe. And then, of course, on the 31st at Southmost, we'll be having our Pokemon Club. From what Anthony has told me, it'll be like a kind of trade night. They'll be able to bring in their own Pokemon cards and trade and like really kind of bask in their community, like in a shared interest. And that's about it. If you guys have any questions.
Do you have questions? So I know like, folks are really into the trading card game stuff. I know y'all are exclusive, like have the Pokemon Club. I saw this past weekend or recently the McAllen Library was hosting a similar version for like just trading card games in general.
Oh,
Just I started playing Magic the Gathering. So a lot of people are like really into that right now. And it is a lot of reading. But that's what's part of their trade. It's called Decked Out, I think. And I know from what I hear, word on the street, some folks come to the public library to play Magic, actually.
yes, they do, yeah.
Yeah.
We're regulars that do that.
So we would like to see just like that for the community. So it's like safe for kids. They know like I know a bunch of adults that go to like Blue Dawn and play or whatever, like just like more adult spaces to play. Like even for like youth, like get them reading. Which I guess thank you. Good job.
Also, actually, I completely forgot. I actually have a sample of the book binding. Be down.
Okay.
I like, and they'll be able to decorate since it's like a cardboard chipboards that they're gonna use for their covers. They're able to decorate however they want. I base mine off of a horror podcast that I absolutely love, so that's a little personality, a little something about me.
I do want to mention, Makerspace has previously done programming for Magic the Gathering a couple fiscal years ago. They also have been really getting DTF prints and heat presses for hats for those of us who want to add the community onto ourselves or out and partying. So definitely got you covered and make sure.
Remember, I believe it's the same regulars that play. They like use the poster printer to make their own like cards.
Oh, I know.
Anime based.
Yeah.
I just started learning this stuff and like a couple of months ago and I was like, oh, there's a whole community at the library. But that I asked about it today. But thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Outreach.
Hello, so I'm Courtney Taylor. I'm your library services coordinator. Next slide, please. So our outreach for this month is an in-range for June. We did the summer bash at our Southmost Brownsville Library. As you can tell from the bottom picture, it was packed. We had over 2,500 people show up on that day to party with us, get pizza, drinks, prizes, as well as play different games. Us for InReach, what we ended up doing is talking about a lot of our databases, including Hoopla and Canopy. And to answer Brenda's question, yes, you can see short circuit on Hoopla by using your library card here at the library. So if you need a retro movie night, feel free to use our database services so that we can help and promote. And I think this really helps because sometimes libraries are seen as a building or as a stuffy place, but with our library, we like to party and we like to be outside. So this kind of fits into the theme of libraries being beyond our four walls in all aspects. That's all I got for you. Any questions, queries, concerns?
Is that more people from last year's summer bash?
Yes.
Yes.
Don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but it was.
Yeah.
Great job. Mom.
Our overflow parking overflowed.
Yeah, it's I speculate that some of our patrons even went to go park in the neighborhoods and walked it in. Yeah.
If anybody wants to volunteer as a parking attendant with us, any questions, please come see Ms. Brenda.
There's opportunities like that. How do y'all make that known to folks to volunteer for stuff like that?
So usually we have our city volunteer force. We also reach out to different clubs in the community. So I know, what is it, Rivera?
Yeah,
Is
we're at a
where
high school.
we speak to a couple of the school clubs and they have a really good volunteer force. And then children's usually has the sign-in sheet to give them back their numbers and everything. But because we are a city department, we have to get clearance through our HRs.
Yeah, so we do use some of our city volunteers during that time. They'll usually volunteer their hours regularly in-house per se, but when we have bigger events, we ask them if they can please help us out with those. And then we have a really good relationship with the Rivera High School Leadership Club. And so they usually, I reach out to their sponsor and she usually provides us with kiddos that come in and help a lot with, especially the games and things. The games and crowd control are really good with the kids in that sense. That's besides our staff, of course, that, you know, yeah.
Utilization statistics.
Okay, so congratulations, we got accredited again for another year for the library through this state. So I'm gonna go over a little bit of the highlights that we have. This is in conjunction with October 1st, 2024 through September 30, 2025. So all costs associated needed to be in with this time frame. All utilization needed to be with that time frame as well. So accredited libraries are eligible to apply for E-rate, which is a federal funded program, which we receive anywhere from 80 to 95% discount to be used for internet connection, internal services, which consist of servers, access wireless points. So it really does help because they're very expensive and the rate is really big, the discount for that one. We also get statewide interlibrary loan program, which means that we get to borrow from other libraries and other libraries get to borrow from us. We can also apply for state competitive grants, which is like Texas eRead. We participate in TechShare Database Consortium. And without this, databases are very expensive. So it's a very good cost savings that we were able to participate and able to offer those other databases that we're not able to afford. And then of course the TechShare card, which is a card that you can use at any library in the state of Texas, that library is also part of this program. So you don't have to specifically have that library card from the library. You can use this one card to use at several libraries. Next slide. So this one's going to be the library visits. So as you can see in 24, we have 599,312. We did get a 1.5 increase, 230,000 for this fiscal year. So it was a difference of 8,918. And this is all accredited to when we do outreaches. They go out there and they meet with the community and do on the spot library cards. We're able to talk about services. So they're bringing in that patrons that we don't see on a day-to-day basis, but we see them out in the community. So that I say that will attest to why that is continuing to jump up. And we're hoping next year the numbers are going to be higher than that. Next slide. And this one is, can you go back one? Circulation usage. So we did have a 2.4 increase as well. And this one was 8,328 difference from them. So items are being circulated. And just for your knowledge, physical collection, we had 190,210 items that circulated. And electronic, we had 164,342. The numbers keep increasing. We have been trying to update our collection to what's relevant. We've been pulling items out. So that goes in hand with our librarians and the selectors to, bring in that stuff that patrons are asking. So we're hoping for that to also keep increasing as well. Next slide. This one is the reference transaction. And this has also had a 25% increase from 23,000 to 29,000. This has to do with, face-to-face with our customers, anywhere from a telephone call to a reference question. So that, as you can see, we're getting busy in the library, and that says that we're getting the patrons coming in here and asking for that service. Next slide. And then this is the interlibrary loans. There was a 35% increase as well, which is 383. We did lend out 678 items and received 791 items. So not every library, as you can see in the state, has every item available, but we can get them from one another. We do lend sometimes when we don't have the item in stock right then and there, and the patron doesn't want to wait. So we'll ask another library to send it over, and they do. So that really helps. And this is part of the programming as far as we're able to apply for interlibrary loans. So, it's great. Next slide. And that is it. We will have a continuation of programming, and also, what's the other one? Programming. Can't think of the next one on the next PowerPoint for next month that Ashley will continue with.
And by the way, Ashley is our new library operations assistant. And so she helps Lisa out in the department, going ahead with all the processing intricacies that go back and that are playing in the background.
Oh, yes.
library updates.
You have questions? How do you track reference transactions well amongst librarians? Like, how is that? How's that?
So it's different. Do you want to- Yeah. So essentially, we actually do have a application program that we have. And so basically all of our library aides and librarians, all of them have access to it. So every time at the end of their shift, they'll go ahead and go into that program and log in specifically the categories that are linked to our annual report. But it's called Desk Tracker. And so essentially it's a statistical database that helps us build those reports. It records not only the reference questions asked, the telephone calls database, but that's also where we keep track of our programming as well. So anytime a program happens, we enter it in there. It makes it easier for us to go ahead and run monthly statistics.
And the texture, which you mentioned is like a thing that all like being accredited allows libraries to participate in texture. Is that obviously something the Brownsville Library is a part of?
Yes,
This is the first time I've heard about that.
same.
Which means that there's probably a lot of people in our community who have not heard about this.
We'll promote it.
Yeah, like that would be.
The databases are really what's worth it. I mean, because you said the cost of getting them individually is so crazy for each individual library. And they have a lot of useful things in there, things like how do you do paperwork for your divorce? How do you make a will? Like it's just a huge wealth of resources. It also has a lot of practice tests for
Driving.
SAT, driving, PSAT, but even like the electrician's test and the pipe fitting. I looked up the other day, a lot of those tests are in there also. So usually hit it on a person by person basis if they need it, but it's a huge resource.
It's a research tool.
I had requested a list of the databases, I think like in April and then in June, and I never got them.
A list of work on.
Yeah, I think if we promote the texture more, I think
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that, especially if they cover a lot in text.
For this bit, we can get you at least one of our promo pamphlets so that has some of the listing.
But thank you for answering.
Any other questions?
Thank you for the report.
Update wise, for us, the only one I really have is over at the Southmost Library. We're getting closer to finishing the pergola. We actually had a walkthrough today, trying to finalize that. We'll be able to have programming within that pergola. I don't have a picture yet because I'm waiting for it to, right now it still looks like, construction stone wise. But it was really good. The structure is up. Contractor needs to put in a few little more finishing touches in there. And then after that, of course, we'll be having, we still need to add the sidewalk, some benches, some equipment that's been purchased for it. But pretty soon we'll be within the next estimated, wise, don't hold me to this one, but hopefully within the next 2 to 3 months, we'll have the ribbon cutting ceremony. So you'll all, of course, be informed of it. So hopefully you can join us for that as well. But that is our major building update for right now.
I just have a question. I had a broad general question about the library because I think this might be like a city thing. It's like I recently was like, I usually just use the app for the buses. I'll take the bus and I use the app and they scan a QR code. It's going somewhere, sorry. They have like bus cards now, like bus passes,
Yes.
like physical plastic cards, hard plastic.
I'm not too familiarized with it, but I do know that they do have passes that they can run up to like 30 days. And so it's kind of like a little credit card.
I have one.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm curious because I'm seeing I also have a library card.
Oh.
I'm like, I feel like there's a way for the city to make this one card.
Like a smart card type of.
Because it's library pass, yes,
And then,
and then the public library card. And I'm like, this could just be one card
yeah.
for the community. And so I feel like I might tell
Readers too, that's probably the challenging.
them. So I,
I guess on our part, like ours is cooler.
Oh, yes.
Also,
Also like leverage an opportunity.
That's just, I know where she's going. To promote something else that we did.
one valuable collection our library did in this past month
Yeah.
is we introduced new designs for children's library cards. So they have an ocelot, they have a deer, they have other card designs. There's 4 in total, and it does depend on your branch.
Uh-huh.
So go check out both branches to see which one you want better. If you need a new card, it's $1. It's so we can pay for the plastic and it helps us with our library funding. But if we do the joint card, how do we do cool stuff like that?
It could be done, right? Like, I think that's fantastic.
That's how they.
Like creative.
Yeah, digital card would be a really good way to go about it too. Right now it is only. And talk to a librarian to see what they need to do, but technically for the kiddies.
Children at heart.
As you can tell, I'm very jealous.
No, like literally, like,
Today, recently.
you know what, I don't know, but I can bring it up and see if it sparks an idea within our,
Collaboration.
yeah, our collaborations. We are, we are a city department. We're one city, so
One city.
yes.
But that was my curiosity about that. And like the second thing I wanted to add, like I just want to come back really quickly to the adult services. I know there's like a lot of emphasis on the summer reading program, and a lot of the activities are tied into the summer reading program, 10 out of 10. But I would really like, I'm curious, like I just don't see a strong tie to literacy and reading in the adult services. And maybe I'm not seeing something, maybe because I know y'all do the work. And so I just want to make sure that like that's being captured or that I'm maybe understanding it better. Because yeah, I just would like to see more information about like adults reading, and then also still making the connection between, maybe that's something that I think I'd asked for previously about like the connection between like tracking the amount of foot traffic at these events, and then also like the utilization or like checkouts for books or materials within like a week after, like to determine if like, is there an impact in those outreach? Like and I know that's probably not something that you can really figure out from one week to the next, but like having the report is really helpful because you all get to compare year to year, but I think maybe month to month would be helpful. Just to I just want to make sure that like y'all's work is being highlighted in a way that makes sense, and that's the verb. Because a lot of this is anecdotal, and like when I think about reporting at my job, there is like the soft reporting, which is what we're doing, and like the hard reporting, which is like the numbers, right? And so great of the anecdotal soft reporting, fantastic hard numbers, but I want to see maybe a little bit more connection between the numbers and the literacy, and like the reading engagement with adults, specifically because I have a lot of adults in my life that like are always curious about like, where can I take English classes or where can I do basic things like that? And I'm like, technically you could at a library, but we don't have that right now, right? Like that's not like,
No, we do not have ESL classes just because none of us are teachers, right? So, what we usually do recommend when someone asks us about second language is we do have Mango languages, so we try to go ahead and gear them towards that platform that they can use to go ahead. And I know that the adult services, when they're doing their computer classes, they always include Mango languages within one of their presentations on an annual or biannual basis, as well. And so they'll use some of those, some of our more continuing education databases. So they'll do something on Knowledge City, on LinkedIn Learning. So they'll try to incorporate that into their programs as well. But I mean, we can try to probably add some slides in there about comparison circulations from previous month to current month and see if we can denote kind of like what Lisa did right now.
And I started on something like that, but I feel like it's not true yet. Like I need to play a couple of months and then I can kind of see on the data. But I did start something.
We haven't really been I didn't include like books, plays and things like that. And and you have to kind of, and Bertha does those also, you have to kind of walk through the library to see them. And it does become kind of anecdotal. I do try to watch the numbers.
Yeah.
But we ran, I think it was I can't remember, a few months ago, we ran a YA literature contest. And we only got one entry. We were planning great prizes. I think circulation was up in the categories that we were trying to get. So teens are really bad at follow through, right, for anybody who knows them.
Okay.
So we feel like it had a positive effect on circulation, but we didn't, it's hard to kind of prove given the timeframes also. So I think you have to also look through the library and what's going on in different parts, because it's those passive things sometimes have more power than what you think. And right, we've got the gardening table, and right next to the gardening table or on the table, there's a lot of gardening books, right? And so I know they are taking it and things like that. We just don't necessarily track it in here per se.
On that note, and this is just a suggestion, I was thinking as I'm listening to the different departments and the reports. My background is in early childhood. I was a pre-K teacher for many years. One of the methods we used, and I'm sure it would be very effective, was known as language experience approach. Everybody shares an experience. Pamphlets are, well, very much like the bonded book that you all share. And everybody shares that experience, of course, from their viewpoint. That's why it's called the language experience approach. And as you go through the process of publishing, editing, and so forth, you are picking up a lot of these literacy
Skills, yeah.
Exposure
Editing and
and so forth.
writing.
But it's of importance to the writer, regardless of whether it's a child or an adult, just going through the steps of. And of course, reaching out to your wonderful resources and seeing, like you said, you've got books of gardening, or my daughter was blown away. She's over there at the teen center right now going, wow, I haven't been here in a while. I go, I know. It's kind of sad that as a community, we lose that touchstone. That's what propelled me to apply to your commission. And I said, I want to get, I love your Southmost branch. We love coming here as well. And we are very much involved in a lot of the activities that you have. And so I'm so glad when you brought your forester to talk about trees, and you had people there in the audience who actually brought the seed of the tree, talked about the rich experiences and the historical value of La Posada, and how you have those wonderful trees. Or my daughter back then actually went because she was working on a research with Resaca de la Palma. And that we have all this wonderful historical basis here in our city. And like you said, a lot of people may not be aware of it because they don't research it or they're not in touch with it. So as I'm listening to you all and thinking very much of that book, I'm reminded of that, of doing that with my 4-year-olds and my 5-year-olds of what was called a language experience. At the end, they took their own published reading and of what they wrote. And of course, you're thinking a 4-year-old, how can write? But really, you're the one writing and they're the one telling you what to write.
Sure.
But they share that story, and they also kind of get attached to the essence of what it is to be in the writing process and to use higher level thinking skills of producing something such as literacy.
I mean,
Very much on what you said about touching that and really exploring it.
that's where, Kat's zine project also was really good that way. I think we talk about literacy, but we have to also remember there are people that are more visual learners, and there are people that are verbal learners. And your project was a great project as people, whether you like words or whether you like kind of copy concepts or pictures, like you can kind of put together it in that way, and it helps people do it. We have had in the teen world a few more literature kind of things, but they're not greatly attended so far, right? I mean, we have to think about like the way people relate to the content. I think that we do need to, like you said, just bring the hidden stuff out into the open for everybody to connect to and learn from. So that's the exciting part, because it keeps us learning too.
And also great job on the America 250 display tonight. That's my last question. Sorry.
Should probably add that we do have a new board member by the
My name is Rosie Williams. Yes, I applied because I was very much interested in it. And I believed I had met with some of you all back at the Southmost branch. I think I logged in for public comment Because back then I was trying to make that connection. We've had visitors with books and do sign readings, and then we did that collaboration with the long game, the book.
Yeah.
Very much similar to our demographic here in our city. And the connection that they made, of course, with BSD and of course with the Butter film and so forth. But it was more the essence of we have this rich literacy here. We have all these wonderful, you would say, touchstones of literacy here in our city, in our area, that we don't really explore because we kind of take it for granted that they're there. And I remember back then, I think I gave you all a pin that said something like, the book was better than the movie or something around. It was popcorn and something like that. But it was just, where does the literacy come when we admire all these wonderful movies and we're going, oh, wow, the Odyssey. Nobody stops to think, well, came from literacy or, oh, Twilight. Oh, well, I know of somebody who has like the whole collection of the books and just a lot. So sometimes we kind of forget the connection of, yeah, movies are great. I'm not knocking movies. That's wonderful. But the literacy aspect of it, the essence of it is what I thought was very intriguing. So I said, I'm going to join in. Nice to meet you all.
Jules.
Book is always.
And actually, on that, since it's my first board meeting, may I have y'all's name?
So Rosie Williams.
George Olivo.
Tony Hussein.
Mandy Martinez.
Hi, I'm Joe Cornelius, pronounced Licamel.
Some wonderful.
Nice to meet you too.
Any more? I have one item to add, and I don't know if this is the time, so let me know. I had someone in the community approach me. They have a project that they're working on. It's a beautiful project. She's titled her work. She's an artist here in town. She's titled her work, The City of Bethlehem. She'd like to display it in the library during the Christmas holidays. Her display is larger than all these tables. And everything's handmade. And everything's made from scratch. And she's rebuilt the city of Bethlehem with the little flickering lights and the music, soft background music. And she has someone telling the story of the city of Bethlehem. She's just really gone all out. She's worked on this for about 4 years to get to this stage and still adding to it. But she would love to share that with the community and would love to display it.
We do have a display application that, as she gets
Okay.
closer to the time, she can fill out. We can look at the content.
Okay, her name is Irma Mills. Some of you may know her. She does beautiful paintings and beautiful work.
And kind of like I know it'll be bigger, but we have done other displays. We did have a patron that continuously changes out his display case here. During Christmas time, we'll have a patron that displays all her Christmas houses as well. So she just needs to go through the process.
So she has to come to you.
Yes.
I can get you that.
Okay.
Yeah. See, and I'm Michelle, take care of the.
Okay, is that an item we have to play on the agenda for next time?
It's just a
All right.
procedural.
She will not disappoint you all because she does beautiful work. Just her work is just beautiful. And Channel 5 was there the day I went to her home last year to see it because she had invited close friends to come see her work. Channel 5 was there interviewing her.
Okay, we're all set where we can go. So we motion. One all in favor?
I can motion to adjourn today's meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for being here.